Welcome to the February 11th edition of the Beatdown Report. My name is The Clute, and welcome to Super Bowl Sunday, which is obviously not today because it's February 11th, a Wednesday, but we're recording it on Super Bowl Sunday because, quite frankly, I could give a damn about the Super Bowl. I could care so little about the game. That's not going to stop me from making a pre-post prediction. Now, this recording, you're hearing it now on February 11th, or around there. But it is February 1st. It is currently 12:50 p.m. I believe on the last show, the last show being Free Lolita, How to Save the World's Loneliest Killer Whale, I made a prediction that the Seattle Seahawks were going to beat the New England Patriots. I think the score I quoted was 17-10, and I'm sticking to that. So if you are listening to this show on February 11th, understand that I made the prediction on February 1st. And go into the YouTube comment section and let me know if I was right or wrong. Let me know who's listening to the show by saying, Clute, you were right, and I wish you had made this prediction before the Super Bowl. That way I could have put money down on the game in Las Vegas. Or you could say, well, I'm glad I didn't put the money on the Seahawks in Las Vegas because then they would have taken my thumbs. So, yeah. Super Bowl Sunday in Arizona. You think we would do a show about that, but quite frankly, I could care less. Not saying I don't enjoy football. Not saying I haven't been to a game. In fact, one of the best moments, I think, of relationship with me and my father was when we went to see a Monday night game, the Miami Dolphins versus the Tennessee Titans, down at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. And that was a fun night. I love football, but this particular Super Bowl, I don't care about. And it's really annoying because living in Phoenix, if you're not in a city, if you've never been in a city that has had a Super Bowl there, it is so annoying. If you're a business owner, I imagine you love it. I imagine, especially if you're a restaurant or a bar, I imagine you are happy as a clam. But if you're not, if you're just a person trying to get from point A to point B, it's really annoying. Last night, I had to pick up a friend of mine. She was doing a promotional show at one of the Super Bowl events, and I picked her up after it was over, and I had people swarm my car thinking I was an Uber driver. I am not your fucking Uber driver, Phoenix. I am not that kind of person. But on this show, we're going to mourn. We're going to mourn the loss of something I think that was really important to America. Important to, I would say, American comedy. And you may be asking, what is that? What is so funny? What are we sad about, Clute? Why do I care? Well, let's go to, we're going to give a speech. This is coming from CNN, and this was a speech that was given by former Republican candidate for president in 2012, Mitt Romney, and former Republican candidate in 2008, Mitt Romney. Let's go live. This is not live. This is actually live on tape. But this was his speech that he gave about income inequality to a group of Republican investors, let's just call them. But let's go live to the speech.
It came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply, and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. The only way you can survive is to spread to another area. There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague. And we are the cure. It came to me.
Okay. Well, that was actually not Mitt Romney. That was Agent Smith. But honestly, that could have been a Mitt Romney speech from 2012. Because Mitt Romney in 2012 really could give a damn about people. He could give a damn about poverty. Mitt Romney in 2012 was all about business. He was about the cold, mechanical machinations of business. And, you could in 2012, you could almost hear this in the background whenever Romney was talking. And that sound is the sound of business stomping on the American people. It's really quite fascinating because Mitt Romney, between December and January, was making noises about running for president again. And what he was doing he was literally talking about basing his campaign on the income gap in America, on income inequality between the rich and the poor, which is just laughable. Let me play this clip from Mitt Romney. We're going to play a clip from Mitt Romney in 2015 first. Then we're going to play a clip from Mitt Romney in 2012. And then we're going to juxtapose that with yet another clip from Mitt Romney in 2015. So this comes to us from the Now This YouTube channel. But listen to this.
Income inequality has gotten worse, and there are more people in poverty in America than ever before.
There are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing. And so my job is not to worry about those people. I'll never convince them.
The only policies that will reach into the hearts of American people and pull people out of poverty and break the cycle of poverty are Republican principles, conservative principles. They include family formation and education and good jobs, and we're going to bring them to the American people and finally end the scourge of poverty in this great land.
Okay. That is just staggering. That is Mitt Romney. Let's talk about Mitt Romney represents, like, if you condensed everything about income inequality and gave it the breath of life, like a rabbi giving life to a golem. I'll just do that sound effect. The golem would look and sound and talk like Mitt Romney. This is a man who has a house which he's now trying to sell. And I wonder if he was trying to sell it because, again, he's not running for president. He has said that he is not. But when he was making noises, he is putting a house on the market that he spent years building, of which one of the features is a car elevator, meaning that he has a storage space for his cars that requires him to have an elevator that can bring it up to the garage or bring it down into storage. I would wager, if you're listening to this show, that you don't have an elevator to lift yourself from multiple floors into your house. You probably don't have a rudimentary dumbwaiter, as invented by Thomas Jefferson, to bring food from the kitchen to the upstairs. He has a dancing horse named Rafalka. And this horse actually belongs to his wife, Anne, who has MS, and she uses it as therapy, which is fine. No one is begrudging her using whatever means are available to her to help treat her illness. But guess what? Most people don't have access to dancing horses. Most people, poor people who have MS, are barely lucky if they can get the shittiest healthcare coverage under their state plans, if they're lucky. Mitt Romney has a ski chalet in Utah, this house with the car elevator in California, and he has the unmitigated gall to talk about income inequality. Do you know, that is literally the modern representation of the apocryphal quote from Marie Antoinette saying, the people have no bread, well, let them eat cake. Mitt Romney is saying that he is basically going to bring cake to everyone. And it is just offensive beyond measure. I mean, it is galling that this man who has done everything he can, when his job, when he wasn't, running the Salt Lake Winter Olympics, that was one of his qualifications to be president. He ran the Salt Lake Winter Olympics. One, it's the Winter Olympics, and no one gives a shit except people who are participating in it or have family members participating in it. And two, there is no two. It's the Winter Olympics. No one gives a damn. When he's not doing that kind of stuff, when he's not doing functionary business, governmental work, he ran a corporation called Bain, or he was part of a corporation called Bain Capital. And what Bain Capital is like the tapeworm in the shit-filled bowel of American capitalism. Bain Capital would go into corporations, assess their profitability, and then make changes to the company to make them profitable, which inevitably led to people losing their jobs, or the complete liquidation of the business, so that the investors, the devotees of the 1%, could earn back a marginal profit or break even on their investments. Unless Mitt Romney has somehow, I don't know, gone on a vision quest or hiked to the Himalayas and found a temple, not unlike Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight, and learned some sort of judo moves that will allow him to flip his enormous weight of economic control to somehow benefit the poor. He's a fucking hypocrite. Now, why is he doing this? Well, because he thought he could find a way to basically embarrass the president and use that embarrassment to shift himself into to make his run in 2016 seem less ridiculous than it already could be. Because remember, he got beat in the 2008 presidential primaries by John McCain. He got beat in the 2012 elections by Barack Obama. No one wanted him in 2012. The Republicans accepted that he was there because their other choices were so incredibly bad. I mean, who are the Republicans going to nominate in 2012? Ron Paul? I know, Ron Paul, maybe you got to make a credible case for him as being a true break from the standard GOP policies. But the other people, Rick Santorum, Michelle Bachmann, Herman Cain, these people were unelectable and had so much baggage that the down ticket damage that they would have done would have made the GOP gains in 2014 they wouldn't have happened. They might have earned back some seats, but they wouldn't have been able to flip control of the Senate, and they might have lost the Congress with the amount of damage that Herman Cain or Rick Santorum or Michelle Bachmann could have done. Mitt Romney was basically, when you're playing pool and you have no shot, you take a safety. Mitt Romney was the GOP's safety in 2012. But what they're trying to say right now is that there are more people in poverty in America now than have ever been. And as much as I want to say that fact is wrong, it's actually not wrong. What in America, as of 2011, the last official figures released by the Census Department, the poverty people living in poverty were 46.2 million people, and that's a lot. The United States has about 370 million people living in it right now, and 46.2 million is a significant percentage. We're going to get back to that in a second, though. I want to avoid poverty for some artists here in Arizona. And how are we going to do that? What's the Klutz stimulus plan for art in Arizona? Well, on February 14th at Lo-Fi Coffee in Mesa, Arizona, at 105 West Main Street, between 1 and 3 p.m. is the Bonnie Book Browse. Now, with the Bonnie Book Browse, you'll be able to see Brick Cave Media authors like Bill Campana, like Sharon Skinner, Joe Giunta, J.A.M. Zeep, and yours truly, as well as other poets from around the valley who are going to be presenting their work and also offering you books that you can buy, that can be signed, and you can meet with one of the authors and shake their hand and talk. Hey, talk to me. I'll be there. Let's get a dialogue going. Let's chat. Let's take a swim in Lake Us. But yeah, come to the Bonnie Book Browse on February 14th between 1 and 3 p.m. in Mesa, Arizona, 105 West Main Street. All right, let's go back to the show. Now that we've done our bit to promote money for starving authors in Arizona. 46.2 million people right now in America live in poverty. And that is the highest number. It blows away the people living in poverty post the 1991 recession. It blows away the amount of people living in poverty after the 2008 Great Recession. But what percentage of it? The numbers are misleading. Yes, there are a lot of people living in poverty. But where are we historically as a percentage of the population? 15% is actually not even close to the highest. In 1957, 23% of Americans were living in poverty. That's in 1957. That number has never been, we've never gotten back there. In 1970, during the heart of the Nixon recession, gas crisis, actually the 70s sucked overall. But I mean, even the heart of that decade, the highest that we got to in poverty rates was like 11%. During the height of the Reagan years, during the height of the Reagan Revolution, during the recession of 82, 83, we were at 15% of the U.S. population living in poverty. During the Bush administration, the first Bush administration, during that recession, we were at 12%. During the Clinton years, it achieved 15% again. I was surprised to learn that the lowest level of poverty in the last 20 years occurred post 9/11, where we dropped it to about 11%. So we're at 15% again, which is not good. I'm not saying this is one thing that I think the Obama administration has failed on, where they have not been able to tackle poverty in any really meaningful way. And it has increased, but it's not at a historical level. Every president, from Eisenhower to Johnson to Kennedy, Nixon, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, has seen the poverty rate between 10% and 15%. So that seems to be, unfortunately, kind of a statistical wobble for the number. And apparently just that's where the floor is. Or actually probably the ceiling is for poverty in America today. What can we do about it? Well, Mitt Romney, hypocritical fucking Mitt Romney is not the answer. And he knows he's not the answer, and he's not running again because he knows he would get murdered in the polls. As bad as the 2012 election was for him, this is how bad it could have been. Here's a commercial that would have. This is actually not a commercial. Comes to us from the Today Show back in 2012. Matt Lauer interviewing Mitt Romney. Let's see what Mitt Romney had to say about people talking about poverty back in 2012, a scant 3 years ago.
Let me, though, ask you about the choice of words last night. When you said that we already have a leader who divides us with the bitter politics of envy, I'm curious about the word envy. Do you suggest that anyone who questions the policies and practices of Wall Street and financial institutions, anyone who has questions about the distribution of wealth and power in this country, is envious? Is it about jealousy, or is it about fairness?
I think it's about envy. I think it's about class warfare. I think when you have a president encouraging the idea of dividing America based on 99% versus 1%, and those people who have been most successful will be in the 1%, you've opened up a whole new wave of approach to this country, which is entirely inconsistent with the concept of one nation under God. Yeah, and the American people, I believe, in the final analysis, will reject it.
Are there no fair questions about the distribution of wealth without it being seen as envy, though?
I think it's fine to talk about those things in quiet rooms and discussions about tax policy and the like. But the president has made this part of his campaign rally. Everywhere we go, or he goes, we hear him talking.
Fuck Mitt Romney. I'm going to cut him off there, because seriously, that he can say with a straight fucking face in 2015 or 2014 that this is a quote from the speech he gave, which unfortunately wasn't recorded because, man, I would love to hear a soundbite. But he said, under President Obama, the rich have gotten richer, income inequality has gotten worse, and there are more people in poverty in America than ever before. Is that not class warfare? Is that not talking about envy? Is that not talking about the wide gap, and not in a quiet room? He's talking about this in front of Republican donors who, by the way, sat stony-faced and unresponsive to what he was talking about. The people in the GOP, the party leaders of the GOP, could give a shit about poverty. There are no votes for them in trying to tackle poverty in this country. They have attacked every single method that has been done governmentally to help lift people out of poverty. They attacked Johnson for the war on poverty. They've attacked Carter for the language that he used to try to bring people out of the mindset of living in the 70s under this, what he called a malaise, which is what it was. Well, Americans just couldn't see themselves succeeding. And then in the 80s, everyone went with both hands in and grabbed as much cash as they could before they burned the country down on the way out. And any time a Democratic politician has talked about fixing it, whether it was Mondale in 84, Dukakis in 88, Clinton in 92 and 96, Gore in 2000, Kerry in 2004, Obama for the last two elections, they've always been accused of engaging in class warfare. Well, fuck you, Republican Party, and a big fuck you especially to Mitt Romney. People say that I sometimes don't give this guy a rest, that I'm always bashing him in conversation, and I am, because he is so much part of the problem. He is so much why this country is on the wrong track. Let's look at what are some of the things that are in the Republican platforms, various statements and platforms and official Republican documents that talk about how to fix poverty in America. Now, the one thing that they do is they believe, against all evidence of the last 6,000 years of modern human civilization, when we first started crawling out of the caves and formed city-states in Babylonia and Assyria and Egypt and all these other places, is that religious organizations, while helpful, cannot systemically fix poverty worldwide. If they could, they would have done it already. Whether, the priests of the temples of Anubis, or, the Pharisees in Israel, or the churches after Christ, or Islamic charities, who enforce zakah and stuff like that. If they had been able, if religious organizations would have been able to stop poverty, they would have done it already. And it's not going to magically happen in 2015. But this comes from the Republican national platform. And this is of 2012. Because of the vital role of religious organizations, charities, and fraternal benevolent societies in fostering benevolence and patriotism, they should not be subject to taxation, and donations to them should be continued to be tax deductible. And then they were saying faith-based charities, this comes from the platform of 2000. The participation of faith-based and community groups will be especially important in dealing with the twin problems of non-marital pregnancy and substance abuse. Reducing those behaviors is the surest way to end the cycle of child poverty. No, it's not. And one of the things that happens, there's a good man in Arizona. He's a conservative. He's about as conservative as you get. His name is Shane Wickforce. And we often talk about on Twitter about, we go back and forth. And again, it's a very friendly conversation. At least I hope he thinks it's friendly because I do like him. But he believes that churches can tackle poverty in certain ways, like medical care. He honestly, earnestly believes that if you are sick, let's say with some debilitating form of cancer, or you need a heart transplant or a liver transplant or something like that, that these churches can help you pay the bills to get your heart transplant, lung transplant, chemotherapy, whatever. And maybe they can do it for one person. Maybe they can do it for two people. But you take the average church in America, that's not a mega church, that's not some gigantic beast of a corporation masquerading as a church. They will not be able to take care long term of one of their parishioners in any substantive way. Maybe someone can get him like the shittiest job working at the machine plant, or maybe someone can, provide food for a month. But there are times when you are stuck in being poor, when you are stuck in poverty, clawing and scraping your way out is very, very, very hard, no matter how motivated you are. I know this for a fact. I know this from personal experience. I have only been on government assistance twice in my life. I took unemployment benefits back in the 1990s, and when mom died when I was a kid, I got Social Security benefits up until age 18. I have been to the point where I have been close to living in my car. I've had to beg, borrow, and steal. Well, not steal, but beg and borrow from people to pull myself out. And I was able to do it by luck and by work. But luck combined with white privilege, combined with a whole lot of other things that are basically chance, helped me get to the point where I'm doing okay for myself. And that can all go away. Most Americans are just one bad day away from being plunged into poverty. And Mitt Romney, back to that 47% quote, talking about people expect they're entitled to health care, they're entitled to housing, they're entitled to food and water. Yeah. As we live in an American society, we are entitled to these things, and they should not be required. We should not have to worry about whether or not we are going to live another day based upon the goodwill of a church, or whether or not Mitt Romney thinks that income inequality can be fixed by a tax cut. There's so many things you can do and that you should be doing out there to help other people, but the government needs to lead the way. The government needs to move policies that will help all Americans. And Mitt Romney is not the way to do it. Mitt Romney is officially 3.0 broken down. All right. And that is the Beatdown Report for February 11th, 2015. Yes, that's what year we're in. 2015. We're in the future. Remember, you heard it here last. At 1:18 p.m., Seattle Seahawks over the New England Patriots, 17-10. Let's see if I'm right. If you like what you heard today, if you don't like what you heard today, give us a comment. Comment on our YouTube channel. Let me know. I promise you I will answer all comments, even the trollish ones. So yeah, Beatdown Report, February 11th, 2015. My name was The Clute, is The Clute, remains The Clute. Want to thank our executive producer, Bob Nelson of Brick Cave Media. Want to thank our in-studio producer, as always, Johnny Skinner, providing amazing work for us here. I want to thank Gentle Buzz, who's not here today because she's doing something related to, I don't know, I think she's acting. She's our PR person. The music that you hear is Raymond Scott, Powerhouse. And of course, we're on YouTube. Check out my blog, theclute.com, for information that we don't talk about here on the Beatdown Report. Stuff that we might talk about here on the Beatdown Report. And that's pretty much it. Hope you're having a great week, and we will see you next time.